first stood at her graveside decades ago, on a cloudless day with the hot Israeli sun beating down on my bare arms and shoulders, my eyes were transfixed on the letters carved out so crisply on her tombstone. I was staring at my own name, and the month and date of her too early death at age 56, etched underneath our name, was eerily close to my birthday. Recently, I turned 57. I had never believed I was destined to live longer than her. Now I have. My paternal grandmother, after whom I was named almost 11 years to the day after her death, remains a mystery to me, even though my beloved late father spoke of her often and always with a hint of sadness in his voice. Here's what I do know about her life. Malka Margolies was a sixth generation to be born in what is now Israel. Her father died young in the 1917 flu epidemic, leaving her mother in poverty with 8 children to raise. Malka's mother, my great-grandmother, known as the Baba Mushke, a direct descendant of the founder of the Lubavitcher Hasidim, a far cry from my own religious practice, died only 2 years before her daughter. My grandmother, who married my grandfather at age 17, moved to his native Jerusalem and came to America in January 1930, a few months after Arab rioting forced her to flee her home with her young children. She departed from the port city of Haifa, where along with 4 of her children, including my 8-year-old father, they boarded a rickety old Greek ship named the Lord Byron to join her rabbi husband, who was already living in New York with their eldest daughter, my late Aunt Rivka. The youngest of my father's siblings, now also long since gone from this world, was born when my grandmother was already not well and was her only Yankee child. I have nothing tangible from her, no Sabbath candlesticks, no pieces of jewelry, not even a postcard with her handwriting. What I have is a photograph of her that sits on my desk. She is standing in front of a nondescript brick apartment building in the Bronx, holding the only grandchild she would ever know. She looks tired and worn. She was in poor health most of her adult life and died in Atlantic City, worlds away from her birthplace in the port city of Jaffa, then part of Palestine. Her death certificate states she died of a coronary thrombosis. She, along with my grandfather and father, had gone to a hotel in Atlantic City for Passover because my grandmother was already too ill to prepare for the labor-intensive holiday. It was to be a vacation. For her, it turned into an eternal one. My grandmother never wanted to be here. She always longed to go home. Eventually she did, however, not how she had imagined, but rather in a wooden box on a long flight before the days of jet travel, accompanied by my father in 1949, the only member of the family to fly back to Israel to bury her. My father once told me that after they arrived in America, she would always remind him of their roots. Moishala, she would say, we came over to Eretz Yisrael, the land of Israel, on the Mayflower. My father told me it was her way of telling him the family's roots in Israel go way back and he should never forget where he came from. He never did, nor have I. I am Malka Margolies' granddaughter, Malka Margolies.